Do you ever wonder why sometimes you'll feel a pull to do something, but then when you go to do it, you're like, absolutely not, retreat, this is not the right move for me. And when this does happen, it probably leaves you in a state of like, wait a second, which one is my intuitive voice? Which one is the one that I'm actually supposed to listen to? Let's talk about it. So, the intuitive voice is the first voice you hear, right? Sometimes that's called a download. We get a pull from within to go and do something, right? That could be to call up a friend, that could be to launch a new business idea, that could be to, maybe not eat a certain food for a while, do a detox, right? We hear all of these things from within. I like to call them downloads. So something comes and falls within us, and we now have an action to take. Then what happens is, as we lead with that intuition to start to take the action, the ego comes to play. And when the ego comes to play, the ego will be like, wait, hold on, this is unfamiliar. Let's think about all of the things that can go wrong. But you hear the two differences in the word. The ego will say, let's think. Let me show you what can go wrong. Let me show you why it won't work through thought. Whereas the intuition comes from within. The intuition is where you got the download. The intuition is going to tell you to do it without thought. That is by faith, right? That is the intuitive faith. That is the subconscious. Whereas the ego plays into the conscious role. So if you're like, I want to strengthen my intuition, and at the same time, like, I'm not really sure how to shut off the other noise, you're probably not going to shut off the other noise. But one thing that you can do is you can show it proof. You can start to show proof of why following your intuition and listening to that download has worked in the past, right? So this is something like self-authority, rebuilding that self-trust. So you can start very small with intuitive things. So your intuition may say like, hey, drink water today, or have tea instead of coffee, or don't drink any alcohol today, or cut out desserts for today, right? Little things like that in the day to day. When you get that pull, that download, and you follow through, now you're building your intuitive strength. Now you're building like a self-authority and a sense of self-trust. Whereas when you let the ego come and take over from the mind and start to play tricks on why things won't work, and you follow through with that, you're going to continuously fall under the ego trap. See what I'm saying? So with that being said, the two voices are not necessarily set to go away. It's just a matter of learning how to talk to each one of them, for lack of a better term, right? So learning how to soothe the ego and allowing yourself to quiet the ego so that you can lead with your intuition, but then also having the faith to lead with your intuition so that you can build a sense of self-trust. The more self-trust you build, the less the ego is going to chime out. Right now, your ego is so loud because it's the stronger of the two. If the ego is stronger than the intuition, then you need to build that intuitive muscle by listening to your intuition. And it's like a muscle. Think of exercise. If you want to grow a muscle, you continue to work it out. That's the same thing with your intuition. You want to grow your intuition, then you need to continue to strengthen it every single day. And if you need guidance with that, make sure you're following along, because this is where I teach you how to strengthen your intuition, but especially make sure you're following along on Threads, because that is where I'm the most active.